Hey, 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 it is July 27th, 2025, Sunday night. Ben, what time we got? Is it our normal time?
It's 7. I think we were later last time, but I'm not sure.
I think we're eating more and maybe having a couple cocktails.
I think we were more efficient this time. We just get better at it every time.
I think so too. Man, oh man, it is Sunday night Outback with Petrone, and I cannot tell you how the audio is so much better here than the wood chip.
It's weird.
It's bananas.
We're literally outside. The neighbor's dog is over there.
Yeah.
They're hanging out at the pool,
Yeah.
but somehow it sounds there's
They're-
something to it.
Yeah, they're wrapping it up, and we're getting it up.
Well,
All right.
Sunday night, folks.
Sunday night out with Petrone.
Cheers.
All right, guys, here we go. July 27th, 2025. We added, instead of the three amigos, we added another guy named Ross
four
McHenry.
horsemen?
Yeah, the four horsemen. Ross McHenry's one of our guys, and he's been with me since high school, and he played college baseball, and he's one of our meet night guys that we've been ridiculed and made fun of that I hang out with dudes, half my age. But he's as real as they get. He's as honest as they get. And I just like real people that talk a lot. And that's Ross McHenry. Ross, welcome to the show with Ben, our producer, and Griffin DeLong, our producer. And they've been in our third series right now
Awesome.
of choices and options, boundaries, ultimatums, and then tonight we're going to add self-auditing and pruning to it, and then figuring out what choice is, and then chopping it up. And we wanted to bring Ross in because he brought some things to the table this week for me, going out to lunch and dinner with him. So I like raw insight, Ben, and I think the reason I like the young guys, because they're like kids where they don't know how to tell a lie, so they just go, "You got a booger in your nose." And it's like honesty, and I think it's so nice chilling with all you guys, and we're not talking IRAs and retirements and stocks and bonds, and I hire a guy for that.
I
And that's
checked
good.
my fidelity this morning.
Good. Yeah. I heard Ross does some stock trading too. So, all right, let's kick it off. Ross, welcome to the show, Outback with
guys.
Petrone.
I'm happy to be here. I listened to the first two episodes. Really loved what I heard. It was a very good contrast of someone who lives in black and white, talking to two people from my generation who live in the gray, like most of us do. So I'm excited to be here and add any kind of input that I can give.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
Please whip us into shape. Come
Yeah,
on.
yeah. You
Always-
guys,
I'm drinking
yeah.
from my Trump glass over here.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
you got
just
your
start
Trump glass
firing everybody.
with a beverage in, and you two indecisive son of bitches. We're gonna bring it back around and make it black and white. All right, so we're still wrapping up. I think everybody, the input I got was, man, I got some good information. It was all everywhere. Last 15, 12 minutes was a self med for Griff. And
You're
his
welcome.
Jiu-jitsu, yeah. I don't know what therapists charge, but I'll take half.
Hey, no shot.
Edna, that is incoming. So look for that invoice.
We came up with Griff's new nickname, Griff No Shot DeLong. I think that's a good one. So, and I thought it had a lot of information to it, and I just think we get more decisive with what even Ross was asking in the kitchen while we're doing our meat night. That's what I do on Sundays now, is I go to Whole Foods and grab some steaks, some wings, sometimes sausage. Today was pizza with it, fries, asparagus, and then an antipasto that we eat. And I look forward to it because I'm 56 years old, spinning on a mountain bike, and I'm like, man, am I happy or things like that? And, I'm at the point in my life where I could afford to do it, and why not just, we bought some good beverages this week, stock up, and it's fun for me, so I'm not taking the $1 million cruises to Italy and everywhere else, but I'm putting my money into good food and good camaraderie. So
Carnivorous empty nesting.
yeah, I appreciate
is your
you guys
rich.
doing this.
Yeah, this is your understanding of rich.
This is my it's so different, but I just want to get to choices, options, boundaries, and ultimatums, and then we could dance into the next segue that I want to start doing a series on. And whoever wants to be on. Who's to say we don't bring different people on? And I like different opinions from different people, but the choices and options, I think we were going to a place where Griff was like, what do you do after you have a choice? And I'm like, that's not my problem to think what the choice is now. So I think we became more definite on that, Ben, because Ben always likes to throw a corkscrew into everything we say. So it's kind of cool of going, whatever they do after that choice, I don't care, because I have to relieve myself from that. Does that guy make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to start kind of going into, we talked a little bit about it in the kitchen, but like defining what an ultimatum would be versus just giving someone that choice where you do drop back and say, this, I don't care.
Right.
It's on you.
Right.
Like what is that difference to you, and where do you define ultimatum versus that?
Well, the subject content in the choice to ultimatum is different. And I think Ben and I would agree 100% on that. The choice would be, again, hey, I've been really trying. I've been reaching out to you. I'm not getting anything back. It's not, it's not. I'm calling it a low energy right now. And I think I'm done with low energy people. Chris, gotta go. I think I'm done with low energy people that aren't like giving me the same energy. So you could put it in a pretty context of a choice, but then the ultimatum, I think Ben, you'd agree with me this. I think the ultimatum is like when you've had enough, because you've been trying for so many years and you're like, you know what, or months, whatever it is, I've had enough. Compared to, we've had a lot of years, I could take that and that, and here's your choice. I think there's a big difference. Choice means you're still willing to invest. With a couple of choices I've had to do the last 2 or 3 months, I'm still willing to participate and kick back. But ultimatum's more, hey, I'm out.
It's more personal
it's
to you.
It's more defined, wouldn't you say?
Because you can give people two choices, and like me and Ben were talking about in the kitchen, like both choices can not be right or wrong, but they can have different pros and cons. Versus an ultimatum is kind of that last straw where you're like, you either meet me here or you're out of my life, or we don't continue this.
No, that's still a choice, because I'm not even saying meet me here. I'm saying
this or that.
I'm saying more, hey, it's been a hell of a run.
Well, then I would say that's like a finality, and like you're not giving them any, like I would tend
I'm
towards
not
what he's
giving
saying.
them, but they could hit me
But I
back.
see what you're saying.
But they could hit me back and go, oh my God, I didn't mean it like that at all. Please call me. And then
You're saying like it's the tone of the person presenting that information to the recipient. It's
Yeah,
like,
well, the
you're saying
informa-
the ultimatum is like,
I'm
this
done.
is over.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
not
done.
a literal definition of like what an ultimatum would be. Like you do this or I'm gone.
Right.
This is Charlie's ultimatum.
Yeah.
Right,
Okay.
right.
Okay, yeah,
Well,
that makes sense.
that's where I was, because I was in space
Got
when
it,
we
got
were
it.
talking about that, because they seem the same.
It's
but-
really not an ultimatum for
Right,
me
okay.
after choice. So I guess it goes choice and then Charlie's ultimatum. And I think that's even...
Makes sense.
It's like, it feels so good. Like a client of mine this last week asked me for dinner over at the house. And I could have went so many several ways of, hey, I'm working late that night, or I got to watch Azzy, my grandson. But I was like, I'm not doing that because I really respect this person. And I'm like, hey, I think I need some more time to myself in my house. I'm not ready to go out to eat. And came in and took it like a champ. And it's like, I don't think that's an ultimatum. It's like where I am.
Well, that's a true friendship or like true intimacy where they're not going to overthink that, and they understand like, oh yeah, I mean, they're making the right decision for them. It would be disrespectful to that person to show up and half-ass the meal, right? I mean, in a way.
And in the same sense, it's disrespectful for that person that Charlie told that to get offended by it, in a sense. Like, if they do care about you or they consider you a friend in that respect, it's going to be like, okay, he's got stuff going on. I understand that. No harm, no foul. Versus someone getting, like what we were talking about on the phone today, offended, or someone says something you don't want to hear, and you take it that to heart and not use it as like a leading into self-auditing, but use it as that. It can get misconstrued.
Well, and that's the other thing we talked about with choices also, and I debunked a client of mine also, is when they were saying you have to be mentally healthy to make the choice. And now another 2 weeks has gone by and I've processed that and talked to a lot of people, and I'm like, I disagree with that. I think the choice makes you in the right mental state. You take, for example, what we do in the wood gym is we train, lift weights, run. I don't think you need 8 therapy sessions from a psychiatrist or a therapist to say, let's give you 8 sessions before you drive down to the gym and walk in and start lifting weights. My opinion. I'm looking at Griff because he's thinking. So let's.
Because that one I got to where my General Custard,
Yeah.
all that stuff started from last week. So like, and I talked to somebody about this that listened to the episode, and they were like, I don't think it's necessarily like, obviously the mental state's one thing, but it's like, they told me they're like, the one thing that you guys didn't really talk about within that is more the integrity of that individual to be able to make good decisions. So it's like,
So like the difference between I'm going to be sober at like 1 a.m. versus I'm going to be sober at like 3:30 p.m. the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
To where it's like, people could be struggling with stuff, but they have a good integrity or character about them that hinders them to be able to still make a good decision.
That's a great point.
I agree, because going back to your example from the first one about Ulysses S. Grant, it's like his integrity's through the roof. He's fought in multiple wars. He's a U.S. general. Is his vice alcohol? Yeah, okay, but
Does it make him a bad person?
exactly
Facts. The integrity of somebody.
right.
That's a good point.
Yeah, and touching in on what you're talking about, like I do think there are times when being healthy to make a certain decision, sure, absolutely. But let's use an alcoholic or someone who's addicted to heroin for an example. Like, they're not going to go get sober or get clean and then start making choice. No, the part of the choice is to get healthy. So I think that's where you started seeing, that, yes, that sounds good and it's right to an extent, but for the majority of people who are making choices, you're not going to be in a healthy state of mind. And getting to healthy might be the choice. It may be that direct choice that you have to make, if that makes sense.
It does.
The choice presents itself regardless of your state of mind. So it's like,
You're going to have to make it regardless, whether you're healthy or not. So, yes, do you want to be as healthy as possible? Yeah, but sometimes you're not in that position. Like, if you're really down bad in your life to where you're making a decision, obviously I'm using sobriety and drugs and alcohol as an example, but if you're at that point, your choice is going to make you sober up regardless. You're going to get healthy based on the choice to stop drinking or stop using or whatever that may be.
Like, you're not going to make the choice to stop doing crack when you've stopped doing crack.
Right.
Like,
You're not gonna start eating salads and drinking
Yeah.
water and all that stuff and still keep doing crack and then finally one day wake up and be like, well, I think my body mass index is down enough to where I can stop injecting and doing all that stuff. So yeah, that's kind of where I sit with it. I think there's both sides of it. I just think in that specific situation that person was talking about, it can be more related, like specific to a situation. Like we were talking, if a CEO of a company is making a choice, yes, you want him to be in the right mental frame, physical frame. The coach of a football team, if we want to relate it to sports, yes, you want them to be in the best mental state they can be, but not everybody applies to that. I think the general rule applies in sense of like, that choice is going to get you to where you want to be health-wise. It may not, it may, but you don't necessarily need to be.
Well, that's what Griff was saying, and
Yeah.
I go back to Griff being right over the other person is General Custard.
Yeah. General custody.
calling
He's-
General Custer through the week.
That's all right.
Grant Lee, I'm a horrible history, is he still can make right decisions.
I like that. I can tell you've had time to think about that too, because that's great feedback from your friend, but it's great insight from you. Like,
Well, it's true, because it's like
Yeah,
integrity and
absolutely.
character, I feel like always, it's going to be the foundation if someone's going to be able to make a good decision.
It's going to override
It goes on, like,
that
everything,
person's
whatever
an
they do.
alcoholic or
Right,
a drunk.
yeah.
absolutely.
Because you're still
Someone can be
like,
drunk, but still, like,
that person's a good person. Like,
they have a
Yeah.
vice that they're struggling
right.
with. But it's like,
Instead of the opposite.
yeah.
and who doesn't? Who doesn't have a vice that in some way, shape, or form is, the one thing people can judge you on?
Right.
Oh,
Like,
100%.
I mean,
So-
all of us here have had cocktails.
So he can still
like,
make good choices.
but Charlie, like, how do you, as the person presenting choices, how do you construct choices that are, I'm scared to use the word fair, but like, how do you construct choices that consider both parties equally?
Well, it's in your dialogue, whether you write it in a contract or a good text, and you look at it and you make it like, again, hey, I really want to be with you. I would like to go here with you and there with you and take you to a game with you and all these different things. I just probably need some more energy. And if you're not willing to give more energy, I think I'm going to have to walk away from talking to you. That's your choice.
But when you're presenting them that contract, you're not going, it's this or the highway. Like, is there an open to negotiation within that process?
Yes, I like that. Yeah, because I want to talk about negotiations too.
People,
It's like,
if it's just because it's like any time in business or anything else, it's like you offer and they counter,
Right.
and then like you
Someone
try to-
could strike out lines 3 and 16,
or you could
but accept
say,
the rest.
with my contracts are non-negotiable. Once they sign them, they go through it and they don't come. So you could go, hey, it's non-negotiable on the contract, or you could present the contract like I have before.
I want to do a change order. Beer's fine now,
Yeah.
but I'm going to stay away from wine.
Or just
and liquor.
meeting someone. Yeah, meeting someone halfway is kind of my extent of negotiation, because you don't want to start giving them too much leeway into negotiating what they really want out of something.
Well, no, they don't want anything out of it. You've had enough of a situation or circumstance to bring a contract up. They're fine whatever's going on, and then it's you going, this is the contract. I'm willing to walk, you're willing to walk, but here's the contract that you can look at, and you make it really warm and fuzzy on the other side to where it would be like, wow, they really don't want to grow or get there or get healthy or whatever, so I'm going to have to stop using whatever my issue is and walk away from it. Or, I guess, as you would call it now, the Petrone ultimatum is like, hey, I'm out.
The separation.
That circumstance this morning was a little bit much for me, so I'm pretty good.
That's like been like the Italian way for you. Like,
I think so. I mean,
it's like
my sister said this last week. She came over with my mother on a Sunday, and she asked how this restaurant was and this restaurant was, and I'm like, yeah, I don't go there anymore. And she's like, you've done that since I've known you, is you hit a restaurant really hard, and then when you're done, you're done. And I think that's where it goes with the Petrone ultimatums. Does that make sense?
yes.
So on a Petrone ultimatum, is there any way for that person? I know we kind of touched on it, but like, is there any way for that person to get back, or is it done? Because I
think I'm done.
Okay, I'm still reverting back to like the definition of like what an ultimatum would be.
These people they don't have a choice.
Okay.
So you're not presenting contracts.
Non-negotiable.
It's, hey, you know what? I'm sick and tired of trying. And I think with a contract, you're really not trying. You're looking at something from afar and going, I want to help this person or whatever, but I got to put together a contract where they could see it all so it doesn't get gray and they go, oh, that wasn't presented to me. That's why you do a contract to where, hey, look, can't complain about the price. You signed it.
Right.
Whether it's a lease or training or whatever. Look, you signed it. Like, so that to me is more of I would say a choice and an ultimatum in one. It's like either you pay it or you don't.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I am with some.
Yeah. In the literal sense, yes. But in your sense, it's like I've given you the opportunity, I've given you the choices to make, and you've either shown me that you're not going to make it or just deliberately not made those choices. So that's when you're just like, it's over. It's done. I'm done. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Low effort. I think I'm into that right now with low effort people and energy. It's like, if you're not going to match my effort, it's cool. I ain't mad at you, but I don't have time for low effort people anymore, because.
Do you mean low effort in like your personal life, or is it from a business standpoint?
I think it's both.
Both.
Yeah. I think it's pruning on both sides, and I think it will help both.
Yeah.
And then.
All right, let's jump into those then.
Pruning. Yeah.
Yeah, the pruning,
self-auditing.
Yeah, you remember self-audit? Yeah. So
do you have to self-audit to prune?
Yes.
I guess explain both of those things, and we'll jump in.
So self-audit is like a tax. Somebody comes in and audits your thing. So I had
Here we go.
Fortunate privilege of eating lunch with John Daly over here. And he was talking about a couple instances and stuff, and I was like, wow, this guy's just, pissing on my back and telling me it's raining, but we're sitting inside at the bar. So I couldn't get it. So the next morning when I saw him again, he had to help me with a couple issues. I said, hey, Ross, will you, breaking my balls and tell me I lost it as a, Petrone as the trainer, I lost the edge? And he was like, no, not really. We know it was saying some things, but it made me self-audit. And that's where I came into the self-auditing thing. If I went through my own checklist of, how many pros I got in the league, in the NFL, how many in the MLB, who's still playing professional tennis, who's playing professional golf, how many college 1A athletes I have, how many college 1 athletes I have that start. So I went through the whole, how many high school All-Americans, All-States, what it is. So I had to take that self-audit. So then I even called him and was like, hey, I want you to, ask around, see what everybody thinks of me. And that's a hard sell because biblically, vice versa, in the Bible, it says, 1 Corinthians, surround yourself around friends that tell you what you need to hear. And then parts of the Bible say, it's only how God sees you or whatever. So I take that over to more business of like, what's the word out there? I've been doing it 34 years, so it's easy to get lax and, deal with other personal issues I've had in my life. So you put that, not the business on the back burner, but you're not hungry to go to 6 college games on a Saturday and 3 on a Sunday, NFL games, or going to follow these guys around, or telling the guys that you train, hey, introduce me so-and-so, I'd like to train them this off season. I haven't done that in years. So who's to say I'll do it again? I just self-audited. And
we referred to it in the time as losing your edge is what you kept referring to it, and we sat and defined what that could be. And I think for you specifically, it's so much has pulled you out of the gym that you've had to kind of shift your focus. We talked about that just a minute ago while we were eating. You've shifted your focus so much that I think you have lost a little bit of that edge in.
Thanks, Ross.
Well, like in the videos we watched when we went back and watched those old YouTube videos, we sat there on the couch together.
Was that Friday?
Friday afternoon.
Yeah, we watched a couple good YouTube videos in 2014 and 2007.
But you even sat there and I could see it on your face. You're like, I'm not that same guy. And part of it is a little bit of like a detriment. Like you want to still be knowing who the big names are out there. We want to go get the Bryce Harpers and Mike Trouts and stuff like that. But it's still like, man, I'm at peace right now. There's a lot of stuff going on outside of the gym, and it's put me at peace, and now it's time to... I think that's what kind of woke you up a little bit. It's like, it wasn't just me saying that. I feel like you felt that for a while, and now that everything's kind of cleared out, you have the open-mindedness right now to see that and hear that.
I can reinvent myself and do anything I want to do. But yeah, I was watching those videos of traveling to Cleveland and then in the wood gym and then picking Lorano from the airport and doing like the days in life Griff, and it was like so raw and unedited. And that's when you even said, I wonder what Griff would think about these. And I'm like, I wouldn't care what he thought about those, because it was just me videotaping or Jabro videotaping. We're just showing what we do in here, and then you got some interviews of, and I was doing it with them and all that jazz, and and the stuff we were doing was like so different than what I do now. And it's like, wow, you look at some of those things and self-reflect. And again, I haven't had that time to do that. On a Friday afternoon, I'm hanging with Ricky Rose, eating lunch and going to the store to buy beverages, and then coming back, and he was waiting on his golf lesson with his pop. So he's like, let's watch some of those old school things of what everybody was doing. And I was like, wow. So I mean, it brings you back to grassroots, I'd say.
I mean, it seems like that's a privilege to be in a place where you can do a check-in like that. You know what I mean?
That's facts. Yeah. Yeah, it was different.
I would say it's a necessity that a lot of people should start doing. Is if you're able, if you're privileged enough to do that self-audit, even if you don't feel like you are, I'd still do it, because it can only make you better. And we talked about this on the phone today. It doesn't really matter who said it. And this will pertain more to you, because I know you were very caught up in what people thought about the podcast. It doesn't matter who said it. It just matters that it was said. Now, there's extenuating examples that are like certain people making claims that are just outlandish.
Yeah.
But if you boil everything down and everybody's saying, oh, well, that person's lazy, or that person just doesn't like that much, or football or baseball or whatever it is, like, if enough people are saying that, it's probably the truth. And that's where the self-editing, but it's how you take it, in my opinion. You can either take it...
Right, people talking about this is different than somebody having allegations on you or whatever. Then you're like, where'd that come from?
You, for example, in this specific example, me and you talked about that. You got on to me about it. I told you the truth about it. And then what did I ask you in there? Were you in the chair on your phone the next time you went in to train people? No.
Yeah.
I could tell by your Instagram story that you were back out on the turf.
Well, the fires
getting
are
after it.
gone.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing here to solve anymore. And
So-
it's like, why bring more people in? Let me cut more
Yeah.
people out.
Yeah. And that
I think
goes-
his point though is like Griff's trying to weight the feedback. It's like you wouldn't take criticism from someone that you wouldn't take advice from. So it's like
right.
it's relevant information of who said that, of like, am I going to change my life
to an
around
extent,
this,
to an
or
extent,
like
for sure, yeah. But
I agree, because what I'm saying is, like, there's people out there that I don't know that know me and my name. I mean, hell, your boss came up and
Yeah.
told me some
Yep.
things that was like, I don't know you.
right.
And he's like, oh, I know, So I think that's like, I can't pinpoint that person's character if I take advice from him. Compared to Griff, I know what you're saying is like, he knows it's a small community that listens to it. So he's like, who said that? And you go, and you're right, he has a point to go, oh, okay, I got it.
Yeah.
Well, and I guess your point is like if anyone says it, there's something there, and so it's just being mindful of like that's why you do the self audit. Maybe you do the self audit, and you're like, yeah, that person read that wrong. You
Well,
know?
isn't it the same thing if you have a relationship and both girlfriends, say you have two, and both girlfriends say the same thing about you? It's probably
Yeah.
like, okay,
Yeah.
wow, they
That's-
see the
That's
same
the
thing.
common
Right.
factor.
That's
there.
And
what
my
I was-
buddy sees it, and my clients see it, and my family see it. Okay, that's
Kind of what I was getting after.
Right.
Like, if enough people are saying the same thing, whether it's someone you hold in high regard or low regard, if they're both saying the same thing, that should kind of tell you something to an extent.
Right.
And I use you as an example just because that was what's fresh in my mind, and I love you, so I want to, if that is
yeah.
something that you struggle with, that's what we're here to do. Is
I love hearing what people say. Not from like oh shit, I care. You learn so much when you hear like what is.
But I do think the difference of you at your age and me is like when you find out who it is, you're usually like, fuck them.
well, yes.
Well,
like,
it's back to like I wouldn't want to get advice from them.
yeah.
Right. That's
For
what I'm
sure.
saying. Right.
Where it's like it doesn't bother, but then it's like, oh wow, like, but like I think there's the two parts to that. It's like, if there's a consistency, like Ross was saying, oftentimes you got to go back and go check yourself, be like,
Yeah.
oh wow, like there's a lot of consistency what everyone's saying. Number two, it's also like, do I find like what they're saying, or they feel accredited and like validated like where they're coming from,
Yeah.
and I generally value like what their input is.
Yeah.
Then I process it. But oftentimes I don't. Like I'm not going to take anything
I think
to heart.
I think it kind of starts with like just how you take it.
Yeah.
If you take everything that everybody says to heart, yeah, you're going to be overly critical of everything. But I don't think you should just necessarily dismiss people that you don't particularly respect or value their opinion, because
I always listen to like what someone's going to say and like what they're going to do.
I
'Cause
think the opinion of someone who doesn't like you or has a pre-existing
you should be listening to them the most.
yes, absolutely.
Because there's
Like-
someone that has a disdain and dislike. For
Like,
you
I'm not
that's
going to list. Yeah, I mean, like, from a baseball standpoint, if I've got two scouting reports, I'm not going to look at the scouting report that my team has for me. I'm going to look at the scouting report the other team has for me. I think you get a better sense of who you are, because there's a lot of things that, like, I may feel inclined to tell you, but I love you, so I'm not going to tell you necessarily.
I think it's like it's bullshit when people like don't tell you.
Yes.
That's why I'm just like, tell me. Like,
But that's a flaw many people have, is they love somebody so much or they care about somebody so much that they're not willing to let it fly, versus someone who hates you is just going to say,
either
"You
way,
suck
it's like
at this," or-
if you're faking it, then it's just like, what's the point? Like, if people like pussyfoot around stuff, and it's just like, if you don't like someone or like disrespect someone, just like tell them.
Well, they
Like,
Positive feedback is less actionable.
Yeah,
Like if
you
you,
can't do
tell
anything
me
with
that
it.
I'm doing like an incline press perfectly, that's great. I'm happy about that. But there's no action for me to take other than to continue on. Does that make sense?
I hate that.
Whereas
I
if
hate
you're
it.
like, that's fucking wrong, like I can change that.
Right.
I get nothing off of compliments.
But why though? Like, what
I
about
always
that?
have. It's just like, okay, cool. Like, that's not gonna like, I'm not gonna get better from him. It's like, hey, you did a nice job. It reinforces something you're already doing right. But I want to know what I'm doing wrong.
We get it, Sam. You could be world champion.
No, but back to it. I think I want to go back to what you guys were saying about the priorities and like the edge thing, where it's just like, I feel like I'll use the analogy with like gardening, because we were talking about it earlier.
Pruning.
It's like oftentimes like you got to kind of cut down the garden
Mhm.
and reset and get new soil
Yep.
before you can start planting and growing stuff again.
Right.
And it's like being around the past couple of years, it's just like there's been so much stuff that you've had to address in your garden, and being able to make sure that you're getting back and getting good soil again,
And
to
nothing
then,
was growing.
and then grow.
Yeah.
Because nothing will grow if you don't look at
Yeah,
it.
that's what Ross basically. He didn't say it anyway like that. Thanks, Griff. That was nice to say. Griff didn't say. Ross didn't say it anyway like
Our
that.
gardens look like shit right now.
Basically,
Us too. It's like
basically, he's like, "Why aren't you training Bryce Harper since he's in town?"
No,
basically, yeah. I said I didn't know he was in town. Yeah, but yeah, no, it was good because he could, by checking itself, he could go. You were talking about like, where's it come from? How's it come? Self audit. So Ross could bring up something like, "Hey Charlie, are you training 5 MLB guys right now?" And I could go, yes or no, or I got 6, or what's your standard of you're doing good in that category of sport? Oh, well, then if you're not doing it, that's a self-check that it's not really a gray of like where'd it come from. It's more of a means and measures of a stat of I hold myself at 10 MLB guys and I got 5, so I'm probably slacking in that. You know, it's almost like sales. Like at the end of the month, you got to pick up that Don Julio. People don't know Ross is a liquor distributor. Kudos to the delicious tequila.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
it was good sell.
King.
Thanks, Ross. I had to start drinking again after
I'm
the
good
hard
for
news.
something. No, but I love that because like I had no idea coming into your house the next day that that's what you sat on all night. Like that's so cool to me to see because I'm just Ross McHenry. I'm not like for those.
And I don't
listening.
have to sit on it.
Right.
Like that's
Well,
the whole thing too. It's
Your
like
mind went straight to it.
well, because it's like, oh my God, I'm 23 years old, starting out again. I got to get to it. Instead of
Yeah.
going, well, let me check my bank account, look at my portfolio. I'm good. I don't care if I train 10 MLB guys. But I didn't think like that. I was like, and I guess I'm the opposite of Ben. Or Griff, I don't care where it comes from because I want to hear it all. You know, I don't want to be the older gentleman that we have in the wood gym. Like, I'm not listening to Ross. He's a 25-year-old punk. And it's like, okay, you don't have to, but if I took 10 people in all different ages and they all said the same thing or passing grade 7 out of 10 say it, my business is that way or I'm that way. I don't put a number on that as in like hanging with people and getting insight and wisdom.
I mean, I just love hearing what people have to say. Like that's like what I generally do for a living is listening to what people think, and then like just listening to it. So I love processing and hearing all of it. Then it's also then like filtering like what's gonna be best for me to like learn and grow from that.
What's your process as far as like taking that information and applying it? 'Cause
Like you
that's
said, like,
something I struggle with too.
Like within anything, it's just like
You specifically though, like
His is probably hard compared to mine. Mine is like,
Yeah.
okay, I gotta go reach out and get 3 guys.
because we've got 4 individuals who do 4 completely different things at this table, and I'm curious. It's a question for everybody, but like, how do you go about that? How do you take in that information, whether it's from someone you care about or someone you could give a shit about? Sorry if there's no cussing on here.
oftentimes if I
I think we've already
but,
covered
okay,
Yeah.
fine. But like, how do like for you? I would use the documentary as an example. When you get the criticism or positivity from it, how do you take that into
well, there's a balance
building
between
it
it
up?
too. Like you guys always ask about like it being done in time. So then it's just like, all right, there's certain things I'm probably.
How do you feel about that? Because I get that all the time, and I come back and usually.
Well, it's funny because it's like if you look at like any of these things where it's documentaries like this, like oftentimes like they can take 7 to 10 years to make.
I'm just saying it's different because my guy comes in for combine, and by May 4th, he has to be ready to run.
Yeah, but it's a goal that they've been working from since 2nd grade. Towards like it's actually 18 years of work. It's not like they're just coming off the streets. You're just fine tuning them, or you're.
Thanks, Ross.
Or going.
well.
Or you've like with Harrison, you already put the work in from 8th grade, and then it's just like, all right, now it's just like it's fine tuning. And I think it's the same. Like it's funny that you guys asked that about the documentary because it's like literally Ken Burns was on Joe Rogan like last month, and
You should listen to that one, Ross.
he talked about how like he's been working on this Revolutionary War documentary for like 10 years. And like he runs out of financing for it, which by the way, like when I've self-financed this entire thing, so it's like I'm not getting money or loans out for this. So it's like jobs I get paid, I work for, I do it. So it's just like I go look at people that like are doing well within my craft, and it's like, okay, well, let's go look at their story and like what was their processes and times it took to finish that. all right, well, I listened to him. I listened to all these people where it's like, oh, that took 10 years. It took 15 years. It took 7 years. And it's just like, I do think there's a part with storytelling that comes into, like, a lot of, like, stuff like that. Like, you can't control certain things without.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, and I'm not trying to like nitpick the doc. I'm just using that because
No, it's a great example.
that's your project to me. Like, you know, as much as I know Ben, like this is, I'm sure you do other stuff beyond this, but this is your project. My project, if you want to call it that, is selling liquor. So like, you answer the question, but you also didn't answer the question as far as like what, like I'm saying like
When
what
I get
do
criticisms,
you do? Like yes, like how do you absorb that? I'm not talking about using. What's his name that was on the show? Ken Burns. Not using him as an example, saying, look, that's my... Because I'm the same way. Like, if I see Scotty Scheffler out there doing a putting drill, I'm going to go do the same putting drill. And whoever you look up to, you're going to get... In your field, you're going to go try to emulate that. But, like, I'm talking, like, right here in the now, if one of the Petrone people come in and say, you know, what's your next step? Or how are you going to get this out? Instead of giving them that answer, like what would be like, what is the next step? What is like the physical action that is next? Is it interviews? Is it more like what is it? And I'm asking that as a genuine question.
So for me, it's, I mean, within like the process of like finishing all of it, I've got to put about 2,000 hours of editing, and I'm probably at like 200.
Okay.
So right now I'm just editing all of it, which I've gotten to like.
So you're 10% there.
Okay. That's a good.
Yeah, I would say about.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I've been working on editing this thing for over a year.
Yeah.
To where it's just like, you got to think about it. I have 2 full-time jobs while doing this, so it's just like whenever I get the money to go do things, like for example, within the next month, I've got to like archive all these pictures and like all of this old footage from this VHS tapes and DVDs, because once I have the storyline out, which I've gotten all the way up to like the early 2000s, then I'll be able to archive all of that, and then it's getting all of that together, which will probably take 400 or 500 hours, and then I've got to get licensing for music, and then licensing from other outside like entities to be able to use like outside footage for like the athletes and stuff like that, and then the ultimate goal would be submitting it to festivals, because that's kind of like what it does, and you're able to put it out. But like within like,
but no, that's a good healthy like. That's a much better answer than what I've heard from you in the past. And I don't mean that as a knock. I just mean like,
honest to God, because I didn't know.
Well,
because you go into it, you don't know.
Yeah, I use this example with Charlie a lot. It's like if I want to be a scratch golfer, and I know I'm not there yet, but I know it'll take me like 2 years or so. I'm not telling everybody like, you know, hey, what are you doing to do that? Well, you know, it takes about 2 years. I'm saying no, I'm doing X,
We're getting
Y, and
into
Z. Right. Like, I feel like that's a better way to kind of process like some of the criticism than giving the, you know, not that we're looking to give them the right answer, but.
Well, the thing is, it's like I've never said when it was going to come out. Like I never have. Everything else has come from outside stuff. Like I've always been congruent with like how to approach this stuff. Now there's variables that I can't control, like flying to Montreal and going and doing those things. I don't have an attachment to these things. But ultimately, I don't want to make all this about the documentary.
No, it's not good. The circadian rhythms are high as hell right now. Are you listening to these things?
I can't hear them, but I can hear them without the headphones.
Oh my God, I could.
They're really with us tonight.
That's awesome. I love it.
Well, I'll leave it on this with the documentary. Is I just studied one today with Brian Deegan, and he said Bloodline, and then the Cameron Haynes or Hans or whoever that was doing them said probably, you know, it's been 5-6 years since you did that documentary. You should do another one. He's like, yeah, and I've heard that people do stages of documentaries. We could do something down the road when Nadzi's running the gym.
Well, also like a lot of what I do is like, because you're asking me like my process of like being, it's my faith is 100% the foundation. So like a lot of the things that I do, I don't know, but like I'll go look, because I abide by that within everything. It's just like, what is Scripture telling me? When I'm praying on it, what am I getting? And it's also like the people around me that I love, that feel like know and understand where I'm coming from, and they're gonna shoot me straight. They usually all three line up to whether like what I need to be doing or not.
You know what's funny, Griff, is all the years I've known you since you were a baby, is we never did a podcast just with Griff like we do with JP Peace or Max On, because I don't think people know a lot about Griff. So it's not
I don't
like
want this to be like another therapy thing again.
no, it's not a therapy thing. I think people are going, what's Griff DeLong doing these days? And I think it's kind of cool that you're out here talking about just some of it, because we've talked.
We got to think about it. Starting that's the other thing. It's like I've got a production company that I've started from nothing that I've got to work and build that. So I've got 4 or 5 retainer clients for that. On top of like I'm doing these shorts for like the Sentinel Foundation, Noaga, to where it's like I just don't market myself.
Didn't you do a one-armed golfer short?
No. Well, I did one, on the North American One-Armed Golfers Association.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's one that like I didn't.
And Alex was on my podcast, the one-armed golfer.
Yeah, I must stay out of that
Well,
conversation.
no, but that was one of the things that you did.
Well, if you want to talk about that, that's the one where it's like, it's interesting because my whole intention of like going and filming that was like I wanted to do a short story on him, but then like that Ukraine war hit, and that's when we made that short video and put it out, and then like it got on like ABC News. Of him like doing the T-shirt thing. I didn't even end up putting a short documentary out with him, but like that video saved like 300 orphans.
But didn't the Golf Channel pick it up and it won awards?
No, the Golf Channel had their own production team come in and do it.
But from the guy that you introduced him to.
So I filmed that video.
And they saw that
It was like a
film.
30-second video about like him wanting to do this campaign for raising money for Ukraine orphans. And that like 1 minute video just started like it literally got showed on the Golf Channel, it got showed on like Fox News. It just
Right.
blew up and started. And that's when the Golf Channel goes, our production team wants to come in and do a story off of you. So that they found about his story through that T-shirt video. I actually never even put out a short doc, but that's what I was talking about. Like I filmed that for a year just for that video, and I ended up not getting what I thought I was gonna get.
Because you were the T-shirt guy.
I was a T-shirt guy, and
Remember?
it's exactly. Oh yeah, well yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I love you. Yeah, so the guy that you did the story on and thanked him was calling him the T-shirt guy.
Well, that's concurrent with everything else in that guy's life. So
I'm just saying. So I guess people don't know that you did it.
I didn't make a film through him though.
well, no, that's what Charlie.
But you also won something with Kenny
Yeah.
Chesney. What was that?
Oh no, I did some stuff for. He did an apparel release for the Sphere, and so like one of the companies I work do production stuff for in Knoxville Threads, they do all the apparel for Kenny Chesney. So then his apparel guys came to me asking if I could film teaser to showcase all of like the new apparel coming out for like his line, the Sphere, which they use, which is cool.
Right. So,
awesome.
but I
Like,
guess
I get like all that stuff I never posted. Like it's just they do.
I know.
Whatever.
I'm just giving the viewers and listeners a little background of like what you're doing. This isn't the first time you're holding a camera.
No, it's
Right.
like I do like local.
The Asheville thing was amazing. The hurricane thing.
That raised like over $1 million. They played that video at the like Jason Aldean's like fundraiser,
Yeah.
and then they've called me and asked me to like me to do contracted work for them.
There you go. So
But
I mean, yeah.
I've just always like I don't know. It's just I like working in silence and just helping people, and maybe that there's a corruption or something from that, but I just don't have an appeasement of like wanting to be well known and do all that stuff.
Okay, but we could circle it all the way back around, and I'll bring everybody back in with choices and options. Is Griff DeLong, when he finished up at University of Tennessee with school, he went off to Nashville to be a sports agent, and his choice was to walk away from that, and he was wanting to shoot short films and documentaries. And he called me 6 years ago.
So what if we do a self-audit then of that particular choice? Griff, do you wish that you were still a sports agent or in that industry? Do you wish you could go back? Do you have regret?
No, well, like knowing like my family history, I always thought like that would be a great outlet for me because I understand like what it's like as a family member of like
And your family
playing
history is
for-
what? A lot of people may just bop in on this show.
So like both my dad and grandfather played in the NFL, so it's like my
Both
Yeah.
first round guys.
first round draft pick, Super Bowl champion. So it's just like
Buckus Award, Lombardi
and I
Award
saw
winners.
the two separate.
Play with Dick
I
Buckus.
saw like the two different paths of what somebody could do from how to capitalize off professional football and also like some of the dark sides that come from playing a professional sport. And I honestly, when I got done with college, I thought that like I would be a great person to be able to help navigate people within that, because I just have an understanding of that from like seeing like what someone has to go through, and setting them up for long-term success. So yeah, I worked at CAA under Jimmy Sexton, and then like at the end of the internship, they offered me a job.
Jimmy Sexton too.
But the thing is that's weird.
Big time sports agent.
Yeah, like I mean he represents like like he represents. I mean like I think 12 of the 14 SEC football coaches like Nick Saban.
He switched over to coaches a lot. He pivoted his business.
Okay.
But the thing is, it's funny. Like
Reggie
one
White.
coach is so many players that you have to sign.
Oh.
It's like
Ben, I actually didn't make a decision. It was like forced on me because like I actually got a job offer and I was finishing,
Ultimatum.
Yeah, I got a job offer and I had to finish my master's that December, and so I worked back in the athletic department because I was like it's funny, I was always studying these people's stories of how they got where they got, and I was always like, oh, so like I got that master's program because one of the guys that's one of the youngest best sports agents that was at Forbes, he did that same program, so I found that out, and I look at Jimmy and he was like, he worked in the equipment room. And then, like, so what I do, I went and worked at Holston Hills Country Club to make money, and then I did an unpaid internship working at the football department at UT in the recruiting department because I was like, I got to build relationships with these people. So I was working, like, actually 3 jobs while doing my master's, and I was not even thinking about video production. But my plan was I was going to finish my master's, and then I was going to start working at CAA. I was actually studying for the NFLPA exam. And then COVID hit. It's funny, yeah. So everything got shut down and nothing got hired, and that's when I went to go work for Bacon & Company doing stickers. And then I actually ended up buying a camera because I wanted to do all the marketing production stuff, and that's how I actually got into storytelling. And then I started just filming stuff, and then I ultimately called Charlie, being like, I don't know what it is. God, whenever, like, with storytelling stuff, it's like God puts it on my heart, and then I just try to follow that.
So it wasn't. I like where you're going with that. It wasn't a choice.
Great story.
Like
that's what I was just gonna say.
No, that's what
he
I'm
didn't
saying.
describe a choice
Because
really.
me and Charlie talked about that.
It kind of naturally formulated. Where I'm like, it wasn't like if you would have told me in high school, like you'd be doing this, I'd laugh at your face. Like all my friends even think it's funny because it's like I took one sports class. I did a sports broadcasting class in high school where I would go film stuff and do like little stories and hype videos and stuff. But I did it because it was an easy class. Didn't even think that it was going to transpire to this. I never grew up thinking I was going to do this.
Right.
It honestly didn't even come into light until COVID, and that's when everything went like haywire, and I just started doing all that stuff. So it's like it's weird because it's like I don't think I ever actually made the choice. It kind of just all like I didn't have any other circumstances. Like the world shut down, so it's like
that's what me and Charlie were talking about.
So your choice was that choice.
Yeah. Sometimes there isn't a choice.
Yeah.
Like your choice is like I was talking to Charlie about him specifically. Like he didn't just choose to be a trainer. That's what he does. It's what he's good at. That's what he recognized from an early age. I didn't choose to pour myself into baseball. It's what came naturally to me. There wasn't a choice. I wasn't sitting down like I'm going to do football or I'm going to do baseball. No, that was it. It wasn't a choice. So I guess there are some situations that
Here we go. You want this one?
Go for it.
Okay, so the listeners and viewers don't know, but Griffin DeLong and Ross McHenry went to the same high school and played football for a minute. So Ross's choice was to play baseball. Ross tells me the story. Go ahead, Ross. You chose baseball after what incident?
Well, there are multiple incidents.
But isn't there one with a guy at a table here?
There was a guy. I was lucky enough and fortunate enough to get to run practice squad as a freshman. The guy to my right, if you're watching, was a very prominent linebacker for the varsity team, and I came across the middle and got knocked out cold. He doesn't remember it. I remember it all too well, and that was one of many injuries.
But that was a choice. Cloud that came through when you stayed,
absolutely.
Ben?
So he just like trucked through you basically?
I ran a slant, and he was doing what he does best and just put me out.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't remember that.
I believe it. I've never seen Griff in action. So.
But that was a choice of going, I think I'm done. I want to play baseball.
But at the same time, I never went into it thinking that football was going to be an option, if that makes sense. It was always just kind of something I did with my friends. Same thing with you. Like, you did other stuff. You played football, but you knew what you were going to do from an early age.
Yeah.
Like, there wasn't a choice. And Ben, I don't know you well enough to say that, but, like, I'm sure there were situations that just didn't feel like there was a choice. Like from the first podcast.
Yeah, I mean, in summary, yeah, I would say I just
Yeah.
wound up.
Well, like Charlie-
I can make a narrative out of it, but I'm forcing that.
Or
on
can I
it
ask
with
you a
hindsight.
question? I want to bring this to Ben for a minute. I never thought when you were doing the podcast as a producer back when we started this 2017 or 18 that I'd ever see you lifting a weight. How'd you come up with that choice?
That's a good point.
That's a good question. I guess maybe I'm going with the theme here. It didn't seem like it was. I think I was definitely coming in there with the same prejudices that led me to never training before in my life. Like, I was the kid that never did any like team stuff. My parents had a boat, so I would like wakeboard and stuff. That was like my sport.
Hell yeah.
Rich kid.
Yeah, it was like the affluent, suburban, like just solo sport stuff. And I wasn't very good at that either. So I saw people that would be in your gym as like jocks or like, I don't know. I was limiting my own choices with my own like understanding that was based on nothing more than like maybe movies or television or something, or like people that went to my school, which is, sort of anecdotal. And long story short, basically when I got the job that I have now, I was working remotely and I literally didn't move anywhere. And I was gifted the knowledge from doing the podcast of like, wow, maybe this could be constructive, I guess was the thought, but I didn't think of it that way. It just seemed like I had no choice. It was like, I need to do something that is me moving, or like I'm just choosing to die every moment of every day. You know what I mean? Because it's like, otherwise I'm just in my desk chair all day, every day. And that's what got me in there. And then I fell in love with it.
Well, again, that's great, but I don't want to interrupt you, Griff. Stay with that. Put a pin in it. As Ben said from the first one, the pin is in it. Here's another choice, and I think the choices is opening up today. So if people can't understand that, well, then go back to grade school. But how did you make the choice to train in the wood gym out of every facility in Knoxville?
Only the wood gym had Ashland, so.
And you start. That's my oldest daughter, Ashlyn. And then you just hooked up with, because you guys are like kindred spirits. Like, you guys connect so well. And she's, even now, she's like, she's past her pregnancy point, and she's like, I got to come in for Ben Saturday. So
Yeah,
it's something, that connection that you guys have had. And she sat in a lot of podcasts in the early ages in the 2018s and 19. So yeah, so it wasn't. I guess it wasn't a choice. I just wanted to run with my dad. It wasn't a choice.
That's what like spending time with Ashlyn. It's also because you work out with your lady, right? Too, like that's what you're.
Yeah.
So it's like
I finally got her in there. Yeah.
Yeah, which is awesome because it's like you're able to now have something where like you're all together. But also you talk. It sounds like Ashlyn's the relational aspect is like.
Well, so she's off on her own. She's like some of the people that we've talked about that like dive in.
Yeah.
And I'm comfortable for whatever reason, like not creating my own program because I'm a lazy person naturally. You know what I mean? So it's like if I make a program, it's gonna say 3 sets on it. You know what I mean? Whereas Ashlyn's might say 4 or 5, whatever. Like.
But you work hard.
That's great self-auditing, though. Like, that's exactly what we're talking about. Knowing who you are and knowing who you're not. Like a Petronism through and through. Of being able to sit there and say, I'm not going to write a workout that's this hard. I know my body. I'm going to coach. Because I'm the same way. When I left the wood gym to work out on my own, I couldn't do it because I'm not him.
It's a self-audit. What did one of the people tell me years ago? You have a great talent, not putting yourself down, but saying who you are. What was that called? What's that word?
Self-deprecating?
Yes. Yeah. There you go, Ross. Yeah. So a while ago, a person told me, she's like, you self-deprecate yourself faster than anybody I've ever seen, and own it. And I think self-auditing is probably a better, because self-deprecation is almost saying you put yourself down, like Eminem did in 8 Mile. That's why nobody could come at him, because all his songs, he already talked to you, especially the movie.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And that's how he won the rap competition. Again, if you know it, so
Big rabbit.
he just put himself down through the whole thing instead of putting himself up. And I think that was more where people started calling me that, of understanding that, where Ben's just going self-auditing. I'm not a highly motivated guy to get in the gym, so I'm lazy with that. So it's smart on his thing to go, I'm going to hire Ashlyn to train with me. And then I'm not lazy anymore because I have to show up. Because it doesn't matter if the guy's highly motivated in the gym or highly unmotivated in the gym. They're both in the gym. So 2 + 2 always equals 4.
Absolutely.
But you're also paying for like that accountability. Like I struggle with that. Like, like you might feel something one day and like want to take something off, and like when you're able to have that environment where it's just like you're paying somebody to put that program together for you, but it's also like keeping you in check and in line. Because if you ultimately, like, for like knowing yourself, auditing yourself, being like, I typically have a tendency not to show up or stay with it and show up.
That's true. I didn't know if you were going to show up today. I was like, I guarantee you, because I was writing a workout at virtual at 12 o'clock for a quarterback at Fort Walton that's going to be really, really good. His name's J.D. Brown. Give him a shout out. He's been going with me for like 2 years. Comes in once in a while, but every Sunday at noon, the whole family's out on the field giving it up, and they work their ass off, and the kid's going to be special. He already is special, but junior year coming into it, amazing. The father I trained years ago, I can't even remember, I'm so damn old. I mean, it had to be with the Chad Pennington days and the Freddie Smith days at Webb. And it was just amazing of the self-audit of how he was. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. I mean, you must have had an impact on that person for them to want to bring their kids. And I will shout out, so I ran into one of your clients at the airport who I guess is sending, one of his kids to you all these years and years later. So
I got a text from somebody saying, I just saw a guy with, did you have a Petrone shirt on?
I was, yeah.
You're representing the airport, see?
Go.
Okay, all right.
They came up, I was not very nice in the first few seconds of that interaction because it was early in the morning at McGee Tyson. I had my AirPods in, and I just see this person's feet, and I'm like, what the heck? This person, like,
wants some
can't
money.
Find another charger in the airport or something. Like, but no, it was very nice. So I can anecdotally name a lot of people like that where it's like, you're not training the second generation. It's maybe even the third generation of these people, and they trust you.
It was Stephen Leitner, a chef that I used with my athletes also, a great guy. I mean, he's comes by the gym. He used to. A lot of them been around a while, and he's a huge supporter, even if he's in the gym or not in the gym. So,
he spoke very highly. So they haven't pruned you?
No, he's not pruned yet. No. And that doesn't mean a prune can't come back, right? The tree grows, but like that's a different.
Oh yeah, that's
and
true.
most people do, like with the gym.
Yeah.
I didn't come for 5 years, 6 years.
That's true.
I think everybody's had a point in time where they've left, but the ones who know come back because they know what people don't know outside of it. It's a special community of people. It's not a gym. It's not.
I actually have a great example of that. So Luke Hochaver, when I did his interview
For the doc.
he talked about that because when he was at UT, he was originally going to come train with you.
Who was Luke Hochaver?
Luke Hochaver was, I don't know what year it was.
He's a pickleball player, right?
Yeah.
2006.
Number 1 overall MLB draft pick. Like,
Pitcher, Kansas City Royals.
OG.
World Series winner.
World Series winner. I mean, Ross could probably name off his accolades.
No, I'm just saying
Well,
that.
I'm not a baseball guy. Yeah.
Right. You're assuming like.
But it's funny. So I think this was what's like. So he told me, he was like, I was actually supposed to train with Charlie when like he said he was like at his high, like he tried to come in there to train with you. I guess it was like during the draft and all in between all that stuff. But I guess there was something from a financial standpoint where he wasn't wanting to pay whatever it was. But he said he ended up not training with you. But then he talked about, he's like, the timing wasn't right because I wasn't ready for the wood gym in my mindset to where it would have worked. And I've always thought that was interesting because he's like, the time that he came in with you is when I think he had Tommy John surgery, or he had like one of the worst ERAs in the MLB at that point. Then at that point he started training with you. And he said that at that point in his life, he was so open an understanding, and like he talked about from a mental perspective, being ready to train with you to where it clicked. But it talked about he talked about the timing of it being like most people would have thought I would have trained with him right after the draft, but it was actually not. He said it was like
6 years later.
He said it was at the hardest point in his MLB career is when he started.
Yeah.
Which I thought was super fascinating.
Yeah, and that's where you don't care. Like when he came in 2006 and he was gone, I didn't care.
You can't be attached to whether he's going to stay or not.
Right. I don't know the outcome, and then 2012 he walks back in.
You detach from it, and it's like 3 or 4 years later, you're like, wow, I would never. And then, but it worked out exactly how it should have been, right? And obviously, like what he transpired with him over this next years, winning World Series championship, and like,
that's awesome.
I always thought that was pretty fascinating, though, about like within.
Yeah, I'd love to circle back to a point talking about physical fitness just in general. You had a great one yesterday that belongs on this podcast, or not yesterday, but 2 days ago when we were talking. You write the workouts, but you don't do them. Like you put it up there, and it's your choice. It falls back to choices. It's your choice to do 3 sets or 4 sets or 5 sets. Like I love that because I've never heard you say it like that. Because obviously you want everybody to go in there and do what they're supposed to do, but at the end of the day, if they're going to do 3 and not 4, that's on them. They're going to be the worst athlete because of it. And I just want you to touch on that, like where that comes from, or like elaborate on it, I guess, a little more, because it seems pretty cut and dry, but I just love that kind of saying that, because most trainers don't view it like that, I guess. They don't just write the workout and then it's up to the athlete. Not many trainers leave their athlete with a choice like that. Like, get better or don't.
You also always say you're prescribing them that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed that. Like when you're like, you always talk about, I'm prescribing them that workout. To where it's like, when you are like giving them medicine, like you can't control if someone's going to take those pills or not.
Yeah. And Chad even said you're not, like in that video we watched, Chad Pennington was saying you're not a nut hugging, pin pulling kind of trainer. You're something else. Back in the day, you would, not saying you can't still do it now, you could probably outwork everybody at this table on a platform, but you'll do it with them no matter how it sucks. And you even said I was going in those hurdles on that video the other day, ice cold. Could have tore every ligament in my leg.
Everybody was laughing because I like mowed them all down. And I'm like, they said jump in. I'm like, okay, that's not going to be
so
fun.
I guess where does that like instilled confidence of like, I'm going to write this workout. It's part of what I do in my brain, but I'm going to leave it up to these world-class athletes, sometimes not world-class athletes, up to them whether how much they want to get out of it.
Yeah, I think that goes back to childhood of I just wanted to run with my dad. So there wasn't a choice a lot of the time. So if it said 4 sets, I assume everybody wants to do 4 sets because that's what I would do. Mm-hmm. And then I go back to, that's why I'd never make a good strength coach at a college, high school, pro level, because I'm not one to tell somebody to be responsible for their own success. Mm-hmm. I think that should fall on them if they want even good behavior.
Absolutely.
You know, I'm not one to monitor somebody's drinking or smoking or whatever it is. It's even when people come train with me and live with me, and it's like we show up at 6 or 7, you know, whatever the time is, I expect you to be that. Grown-ass adults, grown-ass professionals, if they're not there, that's on them. But I'm not going to yell at them.
Yeah, no, I love that, because me and Griff and Ben can all attest to this. Like, I'm sure we've had coaches in our life that are like going through, whether it's training, hitting, tackling, whatever it is, and then you get out there and you maybe not succeed. It's not necessarily on the athlete. It's like they take it personal. You see way more coaches take things personally like that versus you're like, if so-and-so didn't shave 0.8 of a second off their 40, it's not the program, it's not me. I wrote it. I've proven with other people that it can be done. Right. So where did you go wrong?
That's him modeling the choice framework, right? It's not up to you. You've written it out. I mean, I think we've come full circle to where it's like the pruning, if we want to, we're running out of time, but if we want to talk pruning, it's like,
are we?
You aren't doing the pruning, you're just writing the workout.
Yeah.
And it's like certain people will or can or whatever do it and some don't.
Well, it's like anything you do. If I had a client for 4 weeks for Combine, he might not know that I'm watching if he's doing his sets or reps. Mm-hmm. And I don't go back and go, hey, you missed a whole set. I just log it in. Yeah. So then when he runs his 40 or jumps, and I'll be like, oh, you did 12 out of 24 sets.
You articulate it better than I do. not been in front of the mic before. But,
no, I know what you're
but
saying.
like,
right.
yeah, I just love that because you don't, in this day and age of like instant gratification and everybody's a winner, and which is not true. Not everybody's a winner, but that's awesome because more kids, and I hope I poked the bear enough with talking about the whole Bryce Harper situation.
Well, I timed my laps today.
Exactly. Like those kids in the wood gym now, you're welcome. Like, because you're about to get full-fledged Charlie again.
And I'll bring a full-fledged Charlie again. I have an older client that was on here named Justin Sims that I've had since 8th grade, and he's mid-40s. And I'm training his son now. I'm fortunate enough that, and lucky enough that he allowed me to train his son and trust me enough to train his son, Sadler Sims, who's going to be a really good baseball player.
Yep.
And he had to come to Jesus with me a couple years ago, too, of like, I want the old Charlie back, the way you poured your love into me when I was his age. You're not doing it right now. And I was like, okay, again, poke the bear again of like, whatever you're doing, whatever you're in, whatever cycle of life, chapter of life you're in, but let's get out of that and get back to it. And I guess it's hard to stay there for 34 years. I mean, let's be honest with anybody
Well,
here.
it hurts when someone says something
Well,
like that,
and-
right? Or it doesn't hurt.
Yeah, how do you process that?
Yeah, that's a great question, Griff, because I knew you'd ask that. I take it to heart, and I think it goes back to
The 48-hour rule?
well, I take it to heart of who's saying it, and it's usually the reason I like it and take it so well because I'm face to face with that person. Both times that's happened, or more times, I've had, CEOs and very well businessmen get in my face and pull me outside and go, "You got to step it up," or whatever it is. So it's not from a third party text or something. It's that person's right there in front of me saying it. That I've spent a lot of, like going back to you, is spent a lot of time pouring into these people and loving them like they love me. So it's, yeah, I mean, if, my next door neighbor is going to come over here and call me out if you're not a good trainer, I'm going to tell him to go kick rocks and, as we say up north, pack salt and go, you don't know anything about me. But these people are usually second, third generations going, okay, can you bring it back like that? I know you're in a different phase and older or whatever, but can you bring it back? And, give me some grace in 34 years.
Absolutely.
It's going to go up and down.
Yeah.
It's like,
That's what I would add to it, is like, understand where you're at. You just had a grandchild. You're getting ready to have another grandchild, maybe as we speak. We don't know.
no, sure.
But like, they can't expect you to have that same kind of edge because of what that pulls from everything else in your life. I think that's another part of why you're so not okay with it, but you're accepting of it, is like,
Well, and I don't have a lot of hobbies. I don't do a lot of things, but I do enjoy these podcasts, so, okay, could I be training people at this time, Sunday afternoon or whatever? Yeah. Can I be diving into more books or getting on the phone and calling up some MLB guys or NBA guys? Yeah, but this is also another category of my life that's a branch of the same business, of the same brand.
absolutely.
It's just a different brand, and I think that's what the younger guys aren't doing yet. They're still out there wanting to get the big names, and I think I've put that on simmer for a minute. But then again, it's a choice. Hey, Ross hit me hard. It was my choice to take that or not and go, I'm fine where I am, I'm good, or I'm still gonna not time my ride and just ride. Instead, I did the opposite of both of those and rattled my brain. What do you think?
I think it's cool. Like, yeah, there's something to be said about being open to any of that feedback, and maybe when you timed your rides, you enjoyed it more. And that's what, to me, it matters. Like, it just depends on, again, like,
I felt
can't
like
get-
I was charging today on the route. Like a couple of times I almost fell off, and I'm like, all right, I'm back. I'm riding reckless. I'm riding.
Yeah.
So now it's not safe.
Well,
And
like,
I feel
even
like
Lewis
safe
Hamilton
is-
can't put together a perfect lap depending on the day or the track.
I mean,
or
just
the
like
car.
your partner. So you have a girlfriend or a wife or whatever floats your boat these days in 2025, and somebody's getting a little belly. Hey, put down that piece of pizza or watch that last beer that's sweet. You get in a belly. It's the same. It goes back to 1 Corinthians 13. That's all Ross practiced.
Like, if you're thinking it, why wouldn't you just say it?
Right. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. They're usually saying it.
Yeah.
Because the thought is like this, is the same thing as like speaking it.
You need to say it.
So-
You're someone that is seeking that intimacy, that intensity, that honesty, not small talk, but real talk.
You know what I like, Ben, is when Ross, here's the difference. You asked that question, how do you take it? I turn to somebody and go, you're 100% right, period. And biblically, we're supposed to say sorry and leave it at that. It's not the sorry, but. And I think when people go, I want to tell you about those bottles in the trash can, but I couldn't.
It's 3 days.
Facts. Tell
absolutely.
me. No, it's if you're biblical, it's black or white. And he should know me and go, I could tell him anything. And I'd be like, let's go. Let's fix that in 3 days. See how he said 3 days? Where I said you're 100% right. And I'm like, Bryce Harper should be training with me. He's in Lenore. Why is he not? Or at least meeting me.
And to give context on that conversation, we weren't even talking about, like, what's the next wave of athlete? Who do we need? Like, the conversation stemmed from us watching a Phillies game at the bar and you saying, what's Harper up to? And then I went on to that. And then you took it upon yourself to go home or leave the dinner or whatever, even in the car or maybe at the bar when we were still sitting there, of being like, he's talking about this performance place and Bryce Harper going there. That should be me. That should be me.
You'd have been on your knees in the corner the way he was ripping me about, like, yeah, I tell people, like, if they want to train hardcore as just an athlete, they go to you, but baseball specific, they go
want a
there.
Swing coach.
Griff, I was like, is this? And this guy only had one drink. So, wow.
That's not, I had two. I had two.
One at the house. Then I had 3. Let's count. Yeah.
Let's count our drinks. Yeah,
So, like,
that's
for
awesome.
you, when someone does, like, say that, which I think is, like, the greatest form of love, in my opinion, just my personal opinion, like Ross speaks that to you. For you, how are you deciphering
I knew it. I knew it.
'Cause
Just like you know it.
You're congruent with it.
No,
You're
when
just
he
like,
was saying it, it was like, hello, mirror. Like, I knew it.
it hits you.
I've known it for a lot of years.
Like, it's sharp. It's
No,
just
I
like,
knew it.
whoa.
Maybe.
But I embraced it,
Yeah.
Griff. I was like, I know that already. I just need to hear another voice, Ben.
Well, not necessarily just another voice, but maybe a voice that holds some weight. Like, going back to what he said, there could have been someone who said that who has no idea what they're talking about and just been like, they're just blowing smoke.
No.
But you were sitting with someone that I hope, care about and value their opinion. So it means it's weighted a little more, I guess, is what I'm saying. Versus if,
He wasn't wrong. He wasn't. How am I going to debate it?
yeah.
Well, you're not training them. Or where's all your baseball players now?
Yeah. I wasn't one of those disgruntled travel ball parents who's looking at, like, who's charging less and saying that's why they're better. And
Right.
so on and so forth. It was coming from a place of, like,
I don't think Ross means to hurt anybody's feelings. It's just the way his delivery.
just an asshole.
the way
Just an
the way my
asshole.
brain interprets that, it's like I don't see anything in that being mean. I don't. I think it's so genuine, and it's just like just telling that to somebody. I think it's the ability to process that, but it's like it's facts. Like,
Well,
what he said was true, and you go,
yeah.
it was
Well,
straight facts.
would you be able to have that same mentality if it was flipped onto you? Like, if I was talking about some other videographer or director in Knoxville who's doing something similar to you. but
I
maybe
do that
not-
all the time. I look at people
Okay.
how much farther along people are my age in certain things, and it's also like, oh shit, like I've gotten complacent on getting a certain amount of retaining clients or with funding or doing stuff, and then you get off track, and then you kind of get chopped down like a tree or
So you-
reset, being like, yo,
So
hey,
you do see
But
it
he
as,
could
like,
be
endearing.
undercover more than me. See, I'm a brand now, so it's like, what's Charlie doing? Who's he training? He
Yeah.
could be more undercover. Yeah, I think it goes back to what Ben was saying with the incline bench press. And it goes back to Radomir Kovacic, rest his soul, my Yugoslavian trainer I lived with. And all my certifications said the opposite of him. So he said, Charlie, people will come to you, in his accent, Yugoslavian, Griff could probably do it the best. People will come to you so you could tell them what they're doing wrong, not right. And our certifications are like good sandwich, bad sandwich first. You're doing great, you're doing great. Well, like he said when he was doing the incline bench, if I go, Ben, that looks great. And he's like, he's processed, that's great, but there's nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
Instead of hold your breath, squeeze your hands a little bit more, keep your elbows in, keep your wrists aligned, something.
Yeah. I like where Ben went with that. Because, like, as an athlete, you're sitting there like, yeah, he's saying I'm doing good, but I still can't squat 225.
Well, the best ones that I've worked with, and we hear stories, but my four wall, the Harrison Smiths, the Todd Eltons, the Chad Paynes, the Bruce Wilkersons, please watch what I'm doing and tell me what I'm doing wrong. They always said that one sentence. Your old man, Keith DeLong, tell me what I'm doing wrong.
Yeah.
And that's what Ben was basically saying.
Yeah. Well, you brag on Griff all the time how that is something he brings up to you.
Well, he does call me. I mean, like he brought up a good point a couple days ago. I know he was going with this too. It's like we go in phases of talking. And it's vice versa because sometimes I leave him alone just to like, because I always want to call you guys,
Yeah.
but it's like I'm going to leave him alone for a while, let him do his thing. You know,
Sure.
he's 29, you know, and me like me just hammering him all the time. He's got parents and godparents and mentors and stuff, so you leave him alone. But he was saying, he's like, you know, tell me what he'll call me once in a while and go, hey, tell me where I am, tell me what's going on, tell me. And I do like I hit him pretty hard, but not like Ross hits Petrone hard. I mean, holy moly, he'd be horrible,
Never-
Tony Robbins.
Yeah.
What I will say about like criticism or advice or even like choices, I don't know if this is just me, maybe I'm a slow learner or something, but it's like I can point to so many moments from mentors or people that are like peers but just a little ahead in time or whatever. I guess that's still a mentor. Anyway, their advice has to marinate with me for years. Or even like to bring it to something else, like I can play a song that I learned, 12 years ago on guitar or whatever, and I'm still learning stuff about that same piece that, I can play it. I've been able to play it for years, you know what I mean? But it grows with me like the thing, we're talking about a garden. And
like
so those choices, it's
yeah.
like you're planting that seed and you're going to watch it grow.
So
you live with that choice. It's in your yard,
That's planting the seed. Like there's stuff that people told me 5 or 6 years ago that like did not resonate with who I was at that point.
But I bet you thought you
but
were
then that 5 years later, it's like, whoa.
You think you're integrating it, right?
Yeah,
you're like,
you're
oh,
not.
wow, like that person's so smart. I respect that. That's such a great idea. I had a guy one time tell me jobs are not getting harder to do, they're getting harder to get. And I thought I knew what he meant. And like now, I mean, I think, I see it differently than 12 months ago when I last thought about it. You know what I mean? I've probably thought about it 100 times since he told me that. So 100 times in 10 years.
Yeah.
Well, it goes back to the pruning is like those two basil plants. As soon as I pricked off all the dead ones, it started coming to life again. Like it looked so green compared to what it looked.
You got to cut it in order to grow and prosper more. But it's that cutting.
But that wasn't a choice. That was it could
life-
well
it was life or
okay.
death.
The plant gave you the choice.
Right, Ben's gonna come in. I knew he would and say you could let it die. That's a choice. The plant's giving you the choice of cut this, pull this, and watch me grow. But it was a choice to go for this plant to grow. It has to be cut.
But what else does it also need? Consistency. You have to be nourished.
You have to pour into it.
You have to pour into it every day. Because what will happen if you don't?
It'll
It
die. Like a relationship,
Like anything else.
Like
Like
anything
work.
else.
Like a project.
Yep.
Or like something like.
friendship.
And there's sometimes variables that you cannot control. Whether you get a flood coming in from the rain, or there's just some variables that you can't control. But a lot of the time,
Like a hurricane knocking out all my garden.
you cannot control that way that plant's gonna look. Like you look at these trees and it's just like you see all these imperfections with all of it, and you're like, oh shit, it's splitting. So imagine like at the process of like that tree, it's like it's 6 months, and you're like, that tree's so screwed. And then like you see like all the imperfections, but that's where I talked about like letting go. And I think actually it's your faith.
I was just going to say trust, yeah.
Well, for me, for like how I live, it's like I've got to be convicted about what I believe, and it's like if you don't have a faith, nothing's ever going to make sense.
Right. So you're always going to pull from your faith.
I have to. Like if I wholeheartedly believe like, and that's everything for me, then has to play the biggest part in my decision making.
So that's your choice.
It's my choice.
Your choice is your faith.
But you're always going to get that from me, because people are going to be like, oh, he's pulling that from that. It's like, well, I'm so convicted, and like that is my foundation of like how I make the choices and decisions, and that's how I discern things. Then when you're asking me these questions, that's ultimately what it roots down to.
Fair. Can I ask you one question?
No shot.
No. There's a guy in the gym that asked if you won the mountain bike race. I'm like, I thought I said on that he did.
I
at
think I won my
Concord.
heat.
Yeah, he won.
I
his-
honestly left. I didn't stay. I just got done. I was like, I wanted water.
There
Now
you go,
that's
Ross.
detaching from the outcome.
There
you
you
did
go.
the race.
Look at Ross.
I don't know what the outcome
He didn't
is.
want the trophy or the medal, Ross.
I could give two shits about it.
I'm
Like,
more worried about why the person who asked that. Whatever. They don't give a shit about. What
who
he
wants
was
a
actually
trophy?
talking
That
about.
defeats the whole point. It's like I did the race. Like,
I know who asked the question, so I'm not even gonna
Yeah.
say it. But like, yeah,
Did you win the race?
that's not the
And I was
that's
like,
not the
I don't
question
know.
that needs to be asked. How about
did you
listen?
do the race?
Yeah. Exactly.
Did you do that thing that you've been talking about for so many
Exactly.
years? It's like, that's where I'm like, it's so funny to me because it's like,
Or did you walk into the unknown? And
It was
you
definitely
did.
unknown.
You walked into the unknown.
We
Like,
showed up to ride.
Who cares if you win or not? Like, yes. You should go into it wanting to win. Like that should be. Can you control that? You can do everything in your power. Yeah, you can hit balls. Golf speaking, if I want to break
Yeah.
76 or whatever, go hit balls every single day. But when you get out there, one of the stories y'all brought up about Lewis Hamilton or one of the F1 guys not having,
Ben.
was it brakes or whatever it was? I don't know anything about cars, so, but like that didn't happen before the race. He went into it knowing wanting to win the damn thing.
But here's the thing that I'll
So
debunk.
did you? You probably went into it like wanting to win.
honestly, I didn't care.
All right.
He didn't.
Christ.
No, he didn't care at that because it was.
My intention is I'm going to try to win. But
Okay.
like,
Okay, then that's what you say.
but like I don't
No,
care.
no.
I'm
No.
not competitive.
Yeah, no, you're wrong on that. In
Well, I am.
if Griff's defense, if he did like 10 races and he looked at times and he's like, I could go win this race, he was completely unknown on that because it was like we weren't even there to race, we were there to ride.
Right.
Okay, so that's kind of different.
Well, dude,
unless,
my last jiu-jitsu tournament, I got so overheated and exhausted because I went all out in the championship that I threw up on the guy. And I
So
didn't-
did you win?
I didn't win. I got second.
Okay.
I
I
guess
lost off at one point with like 10 seconds left.
I guess
seems
what I'm
pretty
saying
good.
is like shouldn't your mentality going into anything be I want to win this?
It should, but going back to the F formula, the formula racing, right? Where Ben goes, well, when they're coming up, they're like, I want to win the world championship and I want to do this, I want to do this. That's great. But now that they're there and they're racing with Lewis Hamilton, they have never won and always starting in the back of the grid. And you could probably pull their names up and go, this guy's never placed over 10th place. I watch it with motocross. It's like, I know for a fact these guys down are not going to win. And they know it too, but they're on what we call in the business of that racing business. It's still awesome because they're on the other side of the fence. They're not in the fan fence,
Yeah.
they're in the racer fence.
But do they know it?
They know it. They know it.
The worst F1 driver is like the
Okay.
top 20-ish in the world.
Right, and making a huge living, and that's what they're talking about. Motocross is like 39 other guys know they're not going to beat Hayden Deegan, but they're going to get paid. They have contracts from all types of sponsorships in their teams, and they're on that side of the fence as a professional racer. And I know what you're saying is, yes, Shimoda, Levi Kitchen, some people give him a run once in a while, but at the end of the day, you just know he's going to win because he's just wired different.
He's the guy. Like,
He's just wired different. It's just what it is. You know, his pedigree, it's all that stuff coming up. But what Ben was saying with the F formula is a lot of those guys know when they're on the grid, they're not going to win. But they're still representing, they're still being consistent. They're maybe the 12, 14. You could look at it. That's why the results will see it of going, that person's not want to race. Okay, if anybody listened to the second Petrone Outback and Griff's talking about 32 teams want to win the Super Bowl with spring training or mini camp, training camp. So for Griff, I've had an NFL Network on the last 48 hours watching it, right? And they all say the same thing that Griff's saying is like, yeah, we're going to go for it. We're going to go for it. And I can look at it and go, the New York Giants, I'm saying on record, they're never going to win the Super Bowl. Not never, but this year. So they should actually go, the Arizona Cardinals are not going to win the Super Bowl. Now, that sounds horrible to say if you're getting on NFL Network of like, we got the team to do it. Okay.
it's like you don't. You just,
No. Yeah. No, you don't. Jacksonville Jags. Oh, because they drafted Travis Hunter, they're going to win the Super Bowl.
I see
no
what
shot.
I see what you're saying. I feel like
Now I know it's whatever, but they already have the odds. They already
I get that. I
on
get
NFL
that.
Network. They're already placing the odds.
Because they know it's going to be between like 4 teams. Like everyone already knows.
But they're still pros. The owners are still making money, and they're still getting paid.
And there's still guys on contract years who play for bad teams.
It's all about being on the other side of the fence. They're not on the fan fence. They're on the pro fence.
Where it's like they fall within that certain middle metric where it's just like
You need them.
you have to have them. They're not losers.
Because, I mean, that town is cheering for
they're
that
the best
team.
of the best.
Right.
It's just to be the best of the best within the
So
best.
anybody here is going to say New York Giants are going to win the Super Bowl.
There's no way in hell.
Or else.
No, I'm saying
Ben,
the
The only
not
person
gonna
that
say.
might is Fouts.
I don't know football, but MetLife was unimpressive to me. They haven't figured out how to get the
When were
fans
you
out
there?
of
that sucks.
Were you just there?
Yeah.
You were just at MetLife,
I mean, it wasn't for a game; it was for a concert.
but you were in the
yeah.
Meadowlands. You know, like 15 minutes down the street.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
You were at the Meadowlands.
I was not very far from Manhattan, and it took 2 hours to get back to
That's where
Manhattan.
they hit all the bodies.
Well, the Meadowlands is
Yes,
where the
yes.
Giant
Oh, okay.
Stadium is, and the
Also-
horse racing's right next to it. Did you see the big mall?
I mean, I don't know.
You didn't see. They have a water slide in the mall.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, there you go. So
Yeah.
that's the old stomping grounds.
Yeah,
Was
but
the
it's-
mall there when you were there?
No, that's all new. But like, did you find LaGuardia or Newark?
Well, I flew into DC, took a train, so the train came in through Newark, and then
Wow.
Penn Station in Manhattan.
Yeah. And what was in Manhattan? Because Giant Stadium's not. It's in
We
East
just,
Rutherford.
I mean, we're not going to stay in Jersey if we're traveling.
Oh, God forbid!
Shots fired.
Whoa, Hoboken
Right
is
there.
fun.
I like Hoboken.
Wow.
You need to stay in Hoboken.
I went
next
across the
time.
river.
Yeah, you went across the river. Oh my
You're
God!
gonna end up in the river. If
Yeah.
you're not
I know. I'm
careful.
hating.
You know, in The Godfather 1 in the Meadowlands, that's where they dump
Bodies.
pop the guy. Yeah. If you ever see it, it's right there. It's real.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love the Mafia.
All right. So, did we get it going? Did we wrap it up?
I hope so.
Choices, options, boundaries, ultimatums, pruning, and self-audit.
I think we covered self-audit. I don't know that we covered pruning.
Pruning's
We got-
hard.
got
We
into
touched
pruning.
on
We
it.
got into
Yeah.
pruning.
But
Well,
this-
I think they go hand in hand. Because if you're really doing a self audit, you should look into the people around you
and then start pruning.
and start pruning.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these trees out here need to be pruned so they grow. He's 100% right. Like this one's going into the gutter.
But also, you gotta know your plant.
I think there's something to that, but like, it's you don't only surround yourself necessarily with people that are just like you. You're saying you want high effort, but I bet if they were all high effort and exactly like you, that's kind of boring, right?
No, yeah, I'm not saying like me, but just show me that you're. I guess what I'm done with
Participation.
is not
Initiating.
if you're not kicking the ball back.
Reciprocating. Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
And that doesn't have to be like me. I know nobody's like me, and nobody's like you, and nobody's like you, and nobody's like you, Griff. But like, give me something.
Like minded. You can be like
We're sitting on the couch. I call you. You pick up. We talk for an hour,
Yeah.
and we have cool conversation.
substance.
Okay.
Yeah.
So why am I going to call somebody and not have any conversation?
Charlie about died talking to me on the phone the other day. He was holding his phone going downhill on a bicycle.
Yeah. Yeah. My cheap wires weren't working, so I had to go. Yeah, one arm on the mountain bike.
I felt that.
You did. Yeah. I wanted to get that
It's a
out.
sacrifice.
Choices, options, boundaries.
I was just thinking about the pruning though. That back to what I was saying about knowing the plant and what you're doing. You have to know also like what you're planting.
Elaborate.
So like Charlie's documentary, for example, is like that tree, right? It's not
Right.
going to yield to be fully like what it's supposed to be for 8 to 10 years. But then I put out 8 videos this month for other businesses. Those are like the basil or like the things that like it's a short yield, short thing that like I think knowing like the time, the effort's going to put into something also. I think
You
is
want my
important.
answer?
Sure.
Here it is.
I didn't ask a question.
You asked a question.
Oh, I did.
No. If it's smothered, it can't grow. So I'm pulling without replacing.
Oh.
So
Just piss on it.
To touch on that,
I'm just like, I need some dirt.
you say 8 to 7 years. How do you? And it's a genuine question. How do you know that that's your timeline for it? Are you just going off of what other people who?
No,
are
I was
afraid?
just. I don't think it's gonna take that long. I'm just saying.
Oh,
like,
you just using it as an. Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Well, like you plant
Well,
your
'cause
first
that's
tree,
the-
you don't know, and then you
Yeah.
figure it out, and then when you plant the second one, you understand like the process with all of it.
Right,
I
but if you look back here, you would definitely, any landscaper or treeologist or botanist, whatever they are, is like, man, you got to pull. When I already did pull some of these trees out so that big one could grow because that one was smothering it.
But there's also seasons of death and seasons of growth.
Right.
So like all of my plants I planted this year, in the next like 2 months, are going to die.
Right,
It's like that's just a part of the season of it dying.
but that
and
plant
I know
comes back.
once the defrosting stops in the spring, I'm gonna be able to plant again, and that's gonna be another season for growth. And
Right.
it's just like I think a lot of times like things die off because in order for that you need them to die off in order for them to grow,
Right, so
or
I
new
think
things to grow, like a Bryce Harper.
right. So I think I'm in a dead phase and then a growth phase. You know, I think that phase is not a bad phase to be in. Of like, you know what, some of these things aren't taking with the water and the seeds I'm putting in, or whatever people sprinkle on plants and fruits to grow. You know, different fertilizer, different whatever. Nothing's growing.
Like last year, I got a fig tree and I moved and I forgot to go grab it, and I forgot planting it and it straight up died. And then my brother-in-law saw that like I forgotten it, and then like he literally like revived it.
Yeah.
So someone else saw that,
Yeah.
started pouring into it the love and the condition towards
got a
it.
green
And then
thumb.
he had the ability to revive it.
Yeah.
So it's just like
And
if you're not
that's-
pouring into it, being consistent, going back into it, getting
it can be
love,
revived.
it can be revived.
Bang. Yeah. So you could not talk to somebody for a half a year, 3-4 months, and then all of a sudden reach out and everybody's in a different place.
We can pull a lot from plants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I think we got it. Ben, you're the guy here. I know it's my show, but like,
You're giving me too much power behind my.
well, it's just realization of like, I want to make sure people don't walk away and go, we beat around the bush. I don't think we did.
A little bit when you went to go fix your dirty. Me and Ross
We-
kind of went on a little bit of a little
They
side
did?
quest.
I don't know.
We had to fill some space.
we
so
couldn't reel them in. Chaz and I needed more.
Yeah.
We needed more fuel.
Yeah, more liquids. You got to hydrate, okay, kids?
Yeah, it's hot out
there.
here.
You got to hydrate.
You got to hydrate to dehydrate.
Man, I appreciate this. This was so fun. I
Yeah.
love them. I hope we accomplished everything. And if we didn't, we can't stay on. It doesn't matter. But if we are, let's go eat some more and drink some more and sweets, and we chop it up in the kitchen. But I mean, I want the chop up to be the chop up in here too, or out here. I want it to be the same thing. I really want 2025 and going into 2026 to be amazing for all of us. I think it's fun.
Let's get after it.
Choices, options, boundaries, ultimatums, self-auditing, and pruning. Everybody should try it. It's kind of hard, but I got a guy for you if you need him. I'll give you his number. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming out. Later.